Howdy guys, welcome to the cave. I'm Mark, and you're watching Blue Street Customs. Hey guys, welcome to my new project. No, it's not the Hot Wheels. I did some 3D printing. I have to clean it, and I have to prime it, put it together, and paint it. So that's what this mini-series is going to be about. Although, it is about a mini, but it isn't very mini. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is a Treant, and it's not the smallest. The base is 4 pieces, 2 legs, the body, upper torso with the head, left arm, or I should say right arm, right hand, left hand with the arm, small tree, and big tree. Now, here's a dwarf I'm doing. I printed this in 75mm, and as you can see, that's still quite big. So, and back there is the little pixie on a flower, and that's also printed in 75mm. So we're going to have a lot of fun doing this. Like I said, I got lots of joints to clean up and fix up. You know, try to blend things in a little better. The base, I got to clean up where all the supports were, everything. So this is going to be a fun little series. So let me get a few of these things rearranged, taken apart here. I'm going to set up my camera, and we can get started on this. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, guys. Well, I took it all apart, put it to the side, kept out the 4 pieces for the bases. Now, they all interlock. And as you can see, I mean, there's gaps, right? They don't sit perfectly flush with each other. Some are better than others, right? That one's not too bad there. It's got a bit of a gap on this side. This one's got a pretty big gap to it. So I'm going to have to clean up in here because that's where all the supports were anyways. Probably clean up this this pin, clean up these, you know, so everything fits nice together. But also, it's hard to tell. Some are worse than others. But you can see the gap in there. Right? The holes, they curled upwards, right? The edge of the holes. Some are definitely worse than others. Right? So, to make those flat, what I'm going to do is I've got some 220 grit, right? And I'm just going to put them on here, nice flat surface. And I'm just going to keep sanding until everything's flat. I'm not too worried about this. I may be putting some hot glue and stuff in here with maybe a couple rocks or whatever to weigh these down. I mean, that is a fairly tall figure kind of thing. So I want to make sure that the base is quite a bit heavier. So I'm going to figure something out about that. You know, maybe a couple chunks of steel or something to make this heavier. But first, let's get everything fitting together. And I'm going to sand these all down. So I'll put you on a bit of a time lapse and let's get to it. Okay, so as you can see, I've been sanding here for quite a bit. It's starting to level out nicely here, but it's still pretty high right here. It hasn't even really touched here yet. Starting to here and here. So I'm thinking I might try a little different here. What I might do is take my Dremel and a cutting blade, kind of cut and leave maybe about 4 millimeters or so along the edge, all the way around, and get rid of all this high stuff. So I'm going to try that, and if it seems to work, I'll do the rest of them, and then everything should sit down a lot flatter, a lot easier. It's getting really thin anyways, so I mean it's at the point where it's going to start breaking. You know, I don't know if you can see that here. Like, it's pretty thin. You can hear it cracking already, like that. You see that? I broke it. It's so thin that really it's not going to matter if I cut this excess off anyways. So I'm going to get the Dremel out. I'm going to cut this stuff up, and we'll go from there. And I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, guys. Well, I've got them fitting, I think, as good as they're going to get. I mean, they're not perfect, so I will have to do some filling in it. Let me zoom you in here, see the other way. Let's go this way. I'm going to straighten you out just a little bit there, like that. So, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. There's some gap in here. Stuff like that. So I'm going to have to, this side's not too bad. There's a little bit of gap in there. So yeah, I'm going to glue this together as best as I can. And then once that's glued, after I was done sanding, I washed it all down just with clean water. Blew it all off with the airbrush, just nice and dry. So now I'm going to super glue this together. And I think I'm going to use some of this. I haven't tried it yet. It's this epoxy sculpt. All right. It's a 2-part epoxy. It's a putty. That's all it is. It's just a putty. So you mix equal parts, 50-50. And you can sculpt with it, you can drill it, tap it, sand it. Like, it's pretty good stuff. So I think I got this from Amazon. If I can find the link for it, I'll put it down in the description. So if you guys want to test it out, you know, go ahead. I'll use that stuff to fill in these gaps. So I'm going to get these glued, make sure the glue is dry, and then I'll do this. So I'll be back in a bit. Okay, guys. Well, I got that putty on. I got it sanded out. Then I primed it so I could see any more imperfections. Putty worked awesome. Now you can see that, you know, everything's cut out. I may sand it a little bit. I got a couple high spots, nothing major, but it sits pretty flat. You know, it's not rocking or anything. But so anyways, after that, I took my rotary tool and just a little file tip, like a very pointy one. And I went along and I recurved in some of the grooves because some spots were still high, things like that. And just wanted to blend it in a little better. Now, once I paint this, and I'm going to be using some flocking and stuff on it to give it a little more realism and some more texture to it instead of just the texture from the design that they made. You won't see any of these lines whatsoever. I may use some putty, some Tamiya gray putty, and touch up a couple little things here and there, a little bit there on top. Just little spots, you know, got everything fairly good. Everything's sanded where it needs to be sanded. So what I'm going to do next is I am going to go paint this. I'm just going with a base brown. Like I said, I'm going to be flocking, I'm going to be painting a bunch of stuff, things like that. So we're going to put the base brown on. And when I've got that, I'll come back, I'll show you. And that might be the end of this video because this is going to be a big build. And I've got some other plans. I went ahead and printed a bunch of these little tiny fairies. Or actually not fairies, sorry, pixies. Very small. Technically, this is 32 millimeter. Now, I did go into Mesh Mixer and I cut off the rest of it because it's supposed to look like this. Right? That's what it's supposed to look like. Okay? It's supposed to be, you know, sitting on a flower, you know, a stem, things like that. I cut all the stem off. This is 75 millimeter. This is 32 millimeter. Quite a bit smaller. Now these here, these figures, this is from Loot. And no, they didn't sponsor anything. I paid for the subscription. Beautiful, beautiful models that they have. This is a nymph I printed the other day. You know, again, from the same package. There's also, no, this wasn't from Loot, but this is another one I printed from somewhere else. You know, very decent. I started cleaning it up a little bit, so that one will get painted later on. Got a bunch of others. This Treant is from Loot. I like their products. Everything's real nice looking, great detail. Maybe go check it out. Again, this isn't paid promotion or anything. This is just, I bought the subscription and I like their product. If you like minis, go check them out, see what you think. Let me know down in the comments. Maybe you've already got a subscription and let me know, you know, how you think their models are and how they've been in the past if you've been with them for a while. So I'm going to go paint this and I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, so what I'm going to be using here is just it's a Painter's Touch by Rustic. The color is Espresso. Now, this is the paint booth I built. I'll leave a link in the description or put a card up here in the corner for you. You can go watch, see how I made this to see if you want to build something like this or something similar. Okay guys, well, I've got this painted up. I know it's a little shiny, but that's okay. That'll dull down and everything. It's pretty much dry, still a little tacky, but I'm going to let it dry some more. And like I said, there's going to be flocking and stuff on it, and I'm going to do a bunch of other little things to it, so it won't stay shiny like this. I think I'm going to end this video here. And if you like what's going on here, you want to see more of this stuff, I'm going to be recording more because there's a whole big Treant to do yet. And a whole lot of other things I want to modify and change out. But that's going to be good for now. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you can get notified when I post more videos. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this so far. If you have any suggestions of any type of videos, something you may want to see, go ahead, throw them down in the comments as well. In the next video, I'll probably be starting on the legs, cleaning them up, maybe even the lower portion of the body. Get that all glued together and maybe some putty if it needs it. Get them primed up and probably give it the same color base coat because it is a tree, right? So, until then, later.